Okay, good evening. I'd like to, hold on. I had to delete my computer. Good evening. Welcome to the Hayward City Council meeting on February 2024. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And I'd like to ask Councilmember Roach if she can do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Thank you. Please stand if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, if you can please take the roll.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, good evening. Councilmember Andrews.
Present.
Councilmember Bonilla Jr.
Present.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Present.
Councilmember Roach.
Present.
Councilmember Syro.
Present.
Councilmember Cermeño. Mayor Salinas.
Present. Thank you.
Thank
I'd like to move on to our closed session announcement. And I do see our city attorney online, and he'll be delivering a closed session announcement for February 6, 2024 and February 13, 2024. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. Just please bear with me. On February 6th, the council convened at 5:30 and discussed the city managers and city clerks' performance evaluations. And then later, the council discussed pending litigation, proving the settlement in the Lopez case in the amount of $75,000. And also discussed one matter of anticipated litigation. There is no reportable action. On the 13th, the council met with the city manager, who announced her decision to accept a position in another community. And the council decided to appoint Assistant City Manager Clausen as the acting city manager, probably starting sometime in May. And the council indicated the intent to conduct a national recruitment to fill the city manager position. That meeting adjourned at 7:30, 7:31. Closed session on the 6th adjourned at 9:35 p.m. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Our next item is public comment. This is reserved for anybody in the audience that'd like to make a public comment on something that is not on the agenda. And I wanted to, I have two public comments, one or four, two online and two in the room. So let me go to the ones online first. Matt Jack, if you can key up and
Hello, have we started the timer or?
go ahead and start, and then we'll start the timer.
Okay, great. So I'm just here to speak about the resolution this council has accepted about a month ago to divest from companies. I do feel the council crossed the line when they made that resolution. That is a bigoted resolution served to the council by basically the BDS, and the council accepted it without much consideration, and has since refused to make amendments to that resolution and, respect the initial pretense of that resolution of avoiding violence. So basically, this is bigoted against Israel. And I've spoken to some of you. I don't see much movement. I'm just going to be here to remind you that this is, to me, unacceptable, and my community is afraid to basically visit Hayward. And we have not visited Hayward since. I don't see myself coming back to Hayward anytime soon as a result. I don't think Hayward wants me there. That's this resolution. It's the woke kindergarten program. It's the liberated ethnic studies. To me, Hayward is not going in the positive direction, and I just cannot see myself. I don't think I'm wanted in that city, and that's all I have to say. And I'm just gonna keep reminding you until someone takes leadership and stands firm against bigotry and racism, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next caller is Lisa Teeler.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and staff. My name is Lisa Teeler, and I'm a Hayward homeowner and president of the Blackstone at Cannery Homeowners Association. For over a year, our development and various communities in Hayward have been victims of mail theft. Our development has been subject to mail theft at least 6 times that I'm aware of in the last year, including this past weekend. Personally, for me, I have had to rent a P.O. box, close to $200 a year to ensure safe delivery of my mail, directed packages deliveries to secured locations and take the time to pick them up. My 86-year-old mother has tried to meet the mail carrier every day so that none of our mail has been taken, and she has also been a victim with sensitive documents stolen. Last October, our HOA wrote a letter to the Hayward Postmaster and copied the mayor and the city council with no response. We have instructed our fellow homeowners and residents to engage in a letter writing campaign to you and to the Hayward Postmaster to once convey the importance of this issue and demand a resolution. We're also exploring other options to secure our mailbox area. However, these options are long-term and expensive. We've seen the media attempt to get some answers from the Hayward Postmaster. We understand this is a federal agency. However, the residents of this city are negatively impacted. Can you explain what has been done to try and resolve this issue? Have there been conversations or meetings with the postmaster, law enforcement, or other city officials on how to address this problem? And when can we expect a strategy and a plan of action? This issue has gone on too long and has left me and fellow residents unsafe, upset, and frustrated. And I hope that somehow we can come up with a solution together and put an end to this very stressful and expensive problem. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I just wanted to, since I don't have a card with your name, with your information on it, your name and number and address, I do want to ask you to perhaps you can email me directly, and then I can forward you to our police department, because I do know we do have a unit working on this issue, and we do have some news that we can report to you. So I just wanted to thank you for calling. Our next caller is Molly Conger, or Conger. Molly, you there? If you are not there, I will move on to Eva Rockwell. Eva? If I'll give you a second to unmute. I'll give you an opportunity to call back, and then I'll move on to Bill Shanner.
Good evening, City Council. Am I coming through all right, unlike the last two calls?
Yes, loud and clear.
Fantastic. My name is Bill Shaner, and tonight I would like to, I know it's not a back and forth, but I would like to ask a rhetorical question to the City Council that they could maybe consider in the future, maybe to discuss upon themselves and to discuss with the public. And it's in regards to the ADL, or the Anti-Defamation League. I would personally like to ask what for the City Council to disclose what relations and advocacy they've received to and from the ADL, considering the history behind that organization. And I'm not sure if the City Council is aware or the public is aware, because this is an organization, the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith. It was started on the other side of the country in Georgia in 1913. Now, the founding of the ADL, it's a quick story here I'm going to tell, and it is related to city business. I'll get there, but I think we should all hear about how this organization was founded. So in 1913, Leo Frank, he owned a pencil factory, and we all know that in 1913 we didn't have child labor laws. So they were employing children there, unfortunately. And Mary Fagan was this sweet little innocent girl who was working in this pencil factory, manufacturing pencils. And it was just so she could put bread on the table to help her mom and dad out so they could eat and they wouldn't starve. So she goes into work one day and she's hoping to go ahead and collect her paycheck from the factory owner, Leo Frank. And unfortunately, she goes in to collect her pay, and Leo Frank decides to, you know, bash her head in and rape her, brutalize her, and it's horrific. Leo Frank was arrested. He did go to trial. However, all the jury members happened to be Jewish, the same faith as Leo Frank, and they acquitted him. This is in the South in 1913. The Ku Klux Klan was active. We all know racism was rampant across the country during that time. And the Ku Klux Klan and the racists in Georgia actually decided that the man that Leo Frank blamed the murder on, Jim Conley, an African American, again, Leo Frank, this Jewish child murdering pedophile, blamed an African American janitor. The Ku Klux Klan and the racists in Georgia in 1913 decided there is no way in heck that this African American man could have committed this crime. It was obviously Leo Frank. So after the trial and the case got thrown out because it was a whole bunch of his Jewish brothers, the town did what any good community should do, and they lynched up this child murdering pedophile. Why is law enforcement and city councils taking direction from an organization founded on protecting a child murdering pedophile named Leo Frank in order to silence hate speech and free speech? Hate speech is free
Okay,
speech.
Mr.
Thank you.
Shaner, your time is up. Thank you. I want to move
Fuck.
on to Eva Rockwell. Let's see if we can get her back. Hello. Eva, can you hear me? No? Okay, I'm going to move on to here in the chamber, Cynthia Ramirez.
Okay, my concern is, with the, parking in the street that I have, where I can park my car in the street sometimes where people been parking too close. One turned out of the 7-Star Food Store almost a year ago, hit one car and went into three other cars and messed my Mercedes up. Now I have another problem where I'm trying to see how I can get these, the city or somebody where they make them stripes, you know, how where you get them parkings. Cause I have where they went and they went where people keep parking too close and they went and smacked. I have another Mercedes now and they went and cracked my bumper again. And this is another car. This is my second car. And then the problem I have too, real quick, is when this owner to the 7-Star Food pays people to clean his parking, instead of going up to the fence, picking it up with the blower by the dumpster and picking it up and throwing it in, the street cleaner could just come by in the morning. Every day he has those guys blowing the dirt in the street. And if I had hubcaps, it'd be different, but I've got them type of rims where all that dirt is going in my rims. And I'm just here because I'm trying to see what I could do about the parking and the owner with that cleaning in that parking. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. We can't respond to you, but what I will tell you is this. We have your information. We have your telephone number. I'm going to ask staff to have 2 people call you. Our Director of Public Works will call you regarding the parking and the street issue.
Yes.
And then I'll have someone from our streets and maintenance call you, and then you can talk to them about the cleaning of the curb and it getting into your rims and so forth. Okay.
Yeah, because see, one time by the courthouse,
Yeah.
that I ran in fast through the gate following a truck and the guy told me, how in the heck did you get inside this gate?
Yeah.
You're supposed to have a code.
So
I
it,
told him I followed it.
so expect a call in the next day or so, and then
Okay.
someone will call you. We have your
Sure.
information.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yes. Moving on to Lisa Lawrence.
Good evening, Mayor Salinas and City Council member. My name is Lisa Lorenz, and I am the president of the Bay Philharmonic. We are very proud to call Hayward our home, having taken up residency at the Chabot College Performing Arts Center. We came to you back in September to tell you about our first concert, which was Broadway's Best, which we sold out. It was a fabulous concert. Last December, we did the holiday celebration, another sellout. And I'm here to let you know that we will be presenting a Celtic celebration.
Put it on the screen, and then we can show it. So we can show it to the public. There you go. There you go. Oh, yeah, put that one on there. So now the whole wide world can see it. So hopefully
Oh, I
Chabot
used
has
all my
enough.
time up. No.
So hopefully Chabot College has enough seats in the auditorium.
Well, so we sold out the first two concerts. We are a month before the show. And as of today, we are at 818 tickets sold.
Nice.
So the theater seats 1,432. So I believe that we will definitely sell out, and it's going to be a fabulous, well, all our performances are fabulous, but we will have, Irish and Scottish fiddlers, Irish and Scottish dancers. We have what is it? The Kennelly School of Irish Dance. It's just going to be jam-packed with so much, entertainment. So I hope each and every one of you will come, tell your friends, and get your tickets before we're sold out.
I had, if you've only sold 800 seats, I'm assuming that Councilmember Roach's family has not bought their tickets yet. But Councilmember Roach.
Thank you. Yes, we've been talking. Yeah, my family is definitely going to be there. I'm encouraging all my colleagues to be there, and I'm trying to share it as wide as I can so we can fill all those seats. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I just hope that we can continue to sell out so that we can add a second performance in our upcoming season, 24-25 season. So
Nice.
spread the word.
Thank you. Okay, we have a caller, Billy Pierce.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, so I just wanted to give you guys some information about free speech. I noticed that a caller was kind of shut down earlier. So the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution provides protection to and opportunity for free speech in public forums, including ones like this. When writing and establishing rules of conduct, the governing body must be careful not to violate the protections that meeting attendees, both in person and virtually, enjoy under the protection of the First Amendment. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals actually addressed this issue in Acosta versus City of Costa Mesa, which was a case in California, indicating where the line may lie between council rules that are enforceable and those that violate constitutional rights of citizens. So in that case, the court held that the First Amendment requires a person's speech in a city council meeting to actually disrupt a meeting before that person may be silenced or removed. Not that it causes a council member to become triggered and disrupt the meeting themselves. This means that addressing concerns about a certain group of people, a political party, certain laws or ordinances, or otherwise does not constitute disruption. Again, it does not matter whether or not you agree with or condone the views of the commentary provided to the council and the attendees by the public. So unless the commentary contains speech which is a true threat, which is something that a speaker expresses a serious intent to commit an act of unlawful violence to a particular individual or group of individuals, you're probably better off just listening to what they have to say rather than silencing their right to free speech and setting yourself up for a potential lawsuit. And with that being said, fuck the Jews, gas all
I
the
object to this speech.
white fucking power. 。
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Madam City Clerk, for shutting that down. And just so that you know, everyone gets 3 minutes. And, the reason why I stopped the speaker is he spoke for 3 minutes. So anyways, moving on to Hillary Sargent.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. My name is Hillary Sargent. My goodness. I work for a nonprofit called the AWG. We specifically help people get antivirals. I work with a lot of AIDS patients. I really wanted to bring awareness to this group that I work for, because we're living in an epidemic. A lot of the people that I see were previously trafficked, and it sucks, but we do live in a time where that happens a lot more often. Unfortunately, though, I've recently found there's an uptick of children needing our services. And there are some heartbreaking stories to go along with them. A lot of younger girls are getting into those sorts of things. But I recently had a little boy come in. I'm sorry, I'm emotional. He's just 6 years old. And I asked his parents if I could speak about him today. And well, Mr. and Mrs. Goldberg have graciously allowed me to do so. So today I would really love to talk to you about Benny. Ben is 6 years old, and it's a miracle that he's lived this long because he's living with full-blown AIDS. When Mr. and Mrs. Goldberg came in, I asked, how is this even possible? He's too young, and they didn't need our services. So clearly they hadn't given him anything. And unfortunately, I did ask them how this happened. And I was hoping it was a tainted blood transfusion, some sort of freak accident. And I was told that it was actually a ceremony that was conducted. Their heads dropped and they began to explain this ritualistic ceremony involving their, at the time, 8-day-old infant, surrounded by his family and friends, held by his rabbi. Little Benny had his genitals mutilated and was then orally molested by his rabbi. His life forever changed.
Madam City Clerk, can you please cut this call down? Thank you. Before I move on to the next caller, let me read this. The public comment section provides an opportunity to address the City Council on items not listed on the agenda or informal staff presentation items. The council welcomes comments and requests that speakers present their remarks in a respectful manner within established time limits and focus on issues which directly affect the city or are within the jurisdiction of the city. As the council is prohibited by state law from discussing items not listed on the agenda, items will be taken under consideration and may be referred to staff. The City Council welcomes comments, including criticisms about policies, procedures, programs, or services of the city, or of the acts or omissions of the City Council. Speakers shall not use threatening, profane, or abusive language which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of a city council. The city is committed to maintaining a workplace free of unlawful harassment and is mindful that city staff regularly attend council meetings. Discriminatory statements or conduct that is hostile, intimidating, oppressive, or abusive are per se disruptive to a meeting and will not be tolerated. Madam City Clerk, if you can proceed to the next caller, and the next caller is, it's just an email, but it's Fatuma.
Greetings, Council. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I am attending this public comment due to repeated sightings in the city that have caused me great concern. I am in belief that this is of great importance to public safety to let you know that I have witnessed rabbis crawling out of tunnels and sewers. One egregious sighting was so shocking that I was caused to stand beside myself in horror. Please, please, can you fund a committee to help stop these sewer Jews? Thank you.
Madam City Clerk, if you can cut that. Uh, Before I proceed to the next call, can I get the city attorney on, up? Can I have him come up for a second? Mr. City Attorney, so I have 4 more callers, and given the tone and the tenor of the calls, at what point can I stop public comment, proceed with the agenda items, and then proceed with the meeting? Or what would be the course to proceed here? Or should I just, proceed, and when the call gets disruptive or racist or hostile, just end it right there and then move on? You're on mute.
Your last statement would be my advice.
Well, I'm sorry?
I think you should allow the speakers to begin their comments,
Okay,
and if necessary, you can cut them off.
okay. Appreciate that. And then I'm going to proceed to the next caller, and to the council and to the people in the chamber and to the community. I am going to do my best to intervene as quickly and as swiftly when it starts to get hostile, and so that we can provide an environment where we promote democracy, and that we can also conduct a meeting that is free of any kind of hate and harassment. Madam City Clerk, if you can proceed
Sorry,
to.
Mayor Salinas,
Yes.
I suggest that there no additional speakers be lined up.
Okay. So I'm going to close public comment, and I am going to proceed to city manager's comments. And
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, Mayor, can I just say
Yeah,
something?
go ahead.
I thought his point was to cut off any further, like end it as far as the list, but continue with who was in the queue. So maybe I'm wrong about that.
Oh,
That's
can
correct.
I'm sorry? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so I have I'm gonna go with the 4 that were originally here. So Tanner Boyle.
Good evening. I wasn't going to speak tonight until I heard that caller a couple callers ago, Billy Pierce, I think the name was, the one where you cut her off and you said that she ran out of her 3-minute timer. You know, we can all see the speaker timer on the screen. That caller had at least another minute left. And you just straight up lied in front of everybody saying that you cut her off because the 3 minutes were up. So I just wanted you to know that everybody witnessed how fucking stupid you are and that you're a liar.
Madam City Clerk, if you can cut him off, moving on to Susie's iPad.
Hi, council members. What an awful meeting tonight. I just wanted to thank Matt Jack for his comments, and I agree wholeheartedly with him about your guys' decision to divest. You did that. You did that under pressure. City Manager McAdoo gave you many opportunities to say that you wanted to think about it, research it, and look into it before you made a rash decision. But that night, under pressure, with all of those anti-Semitic and pro-Palestinian people, you kowtowed to them and you made this decision, and look at what you get for it. Look at these people, how they're speaking to you. And you guys did exactly what they asked for and exactly what they wanted. I just, oh my God, my heart is beating so strong right now. I just hope that you guys could really take the time to make the right decisions in these things, and please don't bow down to the pressure. And there's a lot of taxpayers that outweigh those people and outnumber them. And whoever wants to speak next and speak like you are, it's awful. Have some respect. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Vicky Lightfoot.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I also wanted to speak to some of the previous callers. I actually had something completely different that I was going to talk about, but I'm a little disturbed with the city at this point because while I may not agree with some of the things that were said, I don't think you guys are able to shut some of that stuff down. And I was listening to another caller talk about some First Amendment stuff earlier, and she had some pretty good points. And your city attorney was actually pretty correct for continuing speech and admonishing you guys. I did notice that you also read off a speech from the ADL. We all know it's the ADL. We know that they protect filthy fucking Jews, and we're tired of your guys'
Madam City
bullshit.
Clerk, you can cut
So
it.
if you could not stifle.
And then last caller is Molly C.
Hi, my goodness. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Phenomenal. I just want to say, fuck you, shit skin,
Uh,
nigger, white power.
Madam City Clerk, if you can. Okay. So I'm moving on from public comments. That was the last caller. Moving on to city managers. Oh, got one more speaker, Kaylin Kelly.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to come and talk briefly about one of the jewels of Hayward. It's a youth organized football league called the Hayward Aggies. I'm a father here in Hayward with a child that attends one of the local elementary schools. I've been living here for about 15 years. When I first came to Hayward, I was looking for a new beginning. I was looking for somewhere to raise my family, and I'm so fortunate that I found such a beautiful city. When I wanted to become more embedded into the community and I wanted to understand what public service meant a little bit more as it pertains to my family and engaging the community, I found a great organization called the Hayward Aggies football team. We've been a part of that organization for 2 years. It is a marvelous agency that encourages family participation and family engagement, along with other community service organizations here in Hayward. But one of the best things about the organization is that it gave me a sense of community. It gave me a sense of belonging, and it gave me a place where my son could engage with other people who enjoyed the same things that he does. And it really helped him come out of the pandemic. It helped him come out of a place where he was a little bit disenfranchised and disassociated with socializing. And it brought him into a place of being very eager, very innovative, and just also very incentivized to want to re-engage, not just the school district, but also community organizations. Last year, the Hayward Aggies just missed winning their football championship. And it was such a marvelous learning experience because they went undefeated the entire season. I think they played something like 10 or 11 games. They won every single game, but they lost the championship. And you can imagine what that ride home was like when I was trying to explain to my son how sometimes you can win even though you've lost. But indeed, what I was referring to is how you can learn from losing, and then you can reapply that to a new season, and you can have another opportunity at winning. At that particular moment, he didn't really embrace it. He still only understood what a loss was. However, this season, they didn't win every game. They lost one game, but they won their championship. They went on to Las Vegas to be invited to a national championship, and they won the national championship as well. So you can imagine what that plane ride was like home with my son when I'm explaining to him, you see what I meant last year when you didn't win everything, but what did you learn? Not only did you learn about community, not only did you learn about how great Hayward is, but you also learn that sometimes when you lose, you've actually won if you just hang in there with what you're doing. So I'd like to thank you for encouraging and uplifting those organizations.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Yeah, and the Hayward Aggies are certainly a great organization. And tell Mr. Johnson and Coach Jason our good wishes. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so I believe we covers everything. Moving on to city manager comments. Our city manager is not here this evening, but I wanted to ask if the assistant city managers have anything to comment on.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. City Manager McAdoo wanted me to make this very important announcement under city manager comments. Since this is the first meeting since her announcing her departure in May, she wanted to make sure that everybody was rest assured that she has not flown the coop, that she is still the city manager, and she will be returning after a much needed vacation on next week.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our action items. Our first item is our consent item, our consent calendar 1 through 7. And does anybody have anything to pull? If not, I'll move straight to a motion. Oh, I'll ask for a motion.
Oh, I will move the
Moved
items
by
1 through
Councilmember-
6, right? 1 through 6.
1 through 7.
1 through 7,
Yeah.
thank you.
Moved by Councilmember Roach, seconded by Councilmember Zermeño, and if there are no objections, it will unanimously pass. Thank you. Moving on to our first item on public hearing, item number 11. This is the sale of parcel 8 for development of affordable housing. Adopt 2 resolutions. 1, approving the Government Code Section 52201 summary report for the project, and authorizing the city manager to execute the First Amendment to the Disposition, Development, and Loan Agreement with RCD GP, RCD GP, the 4th LLC, and Parcel Group 8 LP for transfer of specified city-owned properties and for the development of housing and marketing, making specified findings in association with Government Code Section 65913.4, exemption from the California Environmental Quality Act, and 2, authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the developer associated with the State of California Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program. And I believe Assistant City Manager Clausen is going to kick this off, but I also see our Housing Director, Ms. Morales, here. And so we are in for a treat this evening.
I'll actually introduce the item, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
This item concerns the city's development, disposition, and loan agreement with RCD, Resources for Community Development, for the development of affordable housing on Parcel Group 8, located at the corner of Grove Way and Foothill Boulevard. The city acquired Parcel Group 8 from Caltrans in 2017. In 2022, the city entered into a development, disposition, and loan agreement, a DDLA, with RCD, an affordable housing developer, for the rehabilitation of existing housing and development of new housing on the site. The developer and staff have negotiated an amendment to the original agreement that recognizes market changes since the initial agreement was executed, and it's designed to make the project more competitive for state funding. Craig Whittam, a consultant assisting staff with real estate projects, will make a brief presentation describing the proposed terms of the amendment and requested actions before council this evening. Heather Gould, the city's outside counsel for this project, and representatives of RCD are also available to respond to city council questions. I'll turn it over to Craig.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, and members of the council. I'll walk through a brief presentation. This item, as the acting city manager has described, is related to parcel group 8. This is a map of all of the parcel groups associated with the Highway 238 project. And just to add to the brief description of the history of the property, in 2016 is when the city and Caltrans executed purchase agreements for the transfer of all of these parcel groups. And then since that time, the city acquired the parcels, the council authorized an exclusive right to negotiate with RCD, and then in 2022, executed the original agreement with RCD, who is a developer that has significant experience in the Bay Area with affordable housing developments. Some of the key initial terms of the DDLA included a purchase price of 0, the fact that the developer must provide evidence of financing prior to the transfer of the property from the city. The units that are developed will be restricted as affordable in perpetuity. The city did commit $2 million of inclusionary housing fees as a loan. The project is also a very important element of the project is there are current tenants on the site, and there would be a relocation plan that has been approved by the developer to support those tenants during the development of the project. The developer formed an entity to assist with the financing and the tax credits that the developer will be seeking. And also the developer is committed to infrastructure that will support the city's infrastructure associated with the project. Since the DDLA was executed, and the reason that we're here tonight with an amendment to the original agreement, the development environment has become more challenging with increased interest rates and continued growth in construction costs and acute competitiveness for affordable housing funds. An update on the tenant profile. At the time the council approved the original agreement, there were 11 tenants on the property. There are currently 7. And then also just to highlight the RCD's recent activity, they have pursued and been awarded funds for the cleanup on the property, and that will occur in the coming weeks. And they have continued to engage with the tenants on the project. There was a tenant meeting last month and then a community Zoom meeting just last week. And principally, the developer is working on funding. One of your items tonight is a resolution that would authorize the city manager to execute an agreement related to one of the key funding pieces, the AHSC, State Sustainable Communities Funding, that this amendment that is before you tonight is in part designed to make the project more competitive for those funds. So the staff and RCD have negotiated the terms of the First Amendment to the DDLA. The principal modifications include the extension of the deadline to transfer the parcel from the city to RCD from the end of this year to the end of 2026. That is designed to allow the developer to pursue funding in the next 2 tax credit cycles. Ideally, they will achieve the funding in the first tax credit cycle, but this allows for an additional cycle. The project size was initially designed to be up to 96 units. They have refined the design. That is an attachment to the DDLA amendment, and they are also going through the permit approval process for a project that includes 82 units. In terms of the funding, the city committed $2 million to the funding as part of the original agreement. That stays the same what is proposed is that an additional 500,000 would be allowed for pre-development costs, pursuing the grant funding, doing some of the additional architectural work associated with the project. So this total commitment is the same, but a shift in a portion of how that funding can be used. The commitment of the developer to rehabilitate the number of units occupied at close of escrow, that could be the current number of units, or if individuals move out, it would be the number of units that are occupied when the parcel changes hands. And then finally, the quarterly financing plan updates are required of the developer. The staff is working closely with the developer to support their financing applications, but there is a requirement that the developer provides quarterly financing plan updates. The recommended council action tonight would be to conduct the public hearing, allow for public comment, and adopt the 2 resolutions that the mayor already described in the description of the project. That concludes my comments, and Christina Morales and I are available for any questions, as well as outside legal counsel and the developer.
Thank you. And I have to apologize. Remind me your name.
Craig Whittam.
Craig. I apologize. Okay, so let me come up to council questions first, and then I'll go to public comment, and then I'll return to the dais. And let me see, oh wait, hold on, let me. Councilmember Roach.
Thank you. Yeah, I just had 2 questions. What happened? How did the community Zoom meeting go on February 15th?
I'm going to let Christina respond to that if you heard the question. Okay, it was a question about the community Zoom meeting on the 15th. And just
Yeah, I'm just
how
wondering
that
what, was there feedback from the community on that? Were there any new concerns that were raised at that meeting?
So the meeting, there was low attendance at the meeting. There were 2 people who participated in the meeting. One of the individuals was more interested in the project in terms of being a potential applicant to the project, and the other individuals wanted to make sure that things that were existing issues in the community were thought as how this project could resolve them, such as a request for having more lighting. And also there was a request for some of the transit congestion related to bus turning onto Grove Way. And I would like to invite Norma, if there's anything I've forgotten that's of significance that happened in the meeting, who's online right now, if she has anything to add.
Hi, Christina. This is Norma from RCD. Thanks so much for having us. You have a wonderful memory, Christina. That was a really great synopsis of the concerns and the questions that we heard. Someone did highlight this really wonderful locally grown after-school program as well. Somebody from the community, they did speak to education and how the local school, the school that was closest to parcel group 8, Strawbridge, how it closed within the last couple of years. And so some children have been walking greater distances to get to Cherry and to get to Fairview. And so there were some community members who got together and formed this wonderful after school program. And they did suggest having a place maybe close by to host some of those after school activities. And so because the development site will have a couple of spaces that are commercial / non-residential, there could be some opportunities to host events or services like that do benefit especially children in the community, because we know that cradle to career education is really important to Hayward.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, actually, that's so interesting. Yeah, and I hope obviously you have those notes, and I guess as the development moves forward, that can be something that can be kept in mind, because yeah, that would be great use of some of the community space that will hopefully be in the new building. Okay, and then the last question I had is probably more for Assistant City Managers Youngblood and Clausen. What is our current deadline for the sale or transfer of all these properties? Because I know the deadline keeps moving, right?
That's accurate.
Okay,
And I believe we're still in negotiations with Caltrans for a final date.
okay.
They did commit to being open to extending the date, but we haven't landed on a specific date just yet.
Okay, so the extension of this deadline for this project there won't be any conflict?
Correct.
Okay, okay, thank you. That's all, Mayor, thank you.
And Mayor, before we get too far, my apologies for interrupting. Will you take a moment and open up the public hearing, please?
I was gonna do public hearing after the council questions, or should we do public hearing, then council questions, and then
After, it's fine, sorry.
afterwards, right? So I can proceed? Okay, all right.
My apologies.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Andrews.
Yes, I wanted to know about the water line that's going to be extended. Do you know if there's going to be any upsizing of lines for capacity, or is it just extension of the water line?
I'm going to also defer to Norma if she knows the answer. If she does not know the sizing question that you asked, we can get that information for you.
Okay, thank you.
This is Norma again, and I can say that there are two water-related improvements. One along Foothill that will be the regular water main, and I don't know if there is an existing main there or an increase in capacity. But since this site previously was developed, there's a good chance that there is an existing connection there. But my understanding was that it was going to be a new connection on Foothill. And then on the other side on Groveway, we as part of our entitlements, we did agree to increase the water pressure. So essentially there will be two separate water related improvements on both of the streets at that intersection.
Okay, just had a question about notification, because if it's open trench, there might be some traffic impacts. So just making sure, are we connecting with the businesses since it's on Foothill in that area? I don't know how big this project can get in terms of extending the water line. So just wanted to make sure, are we going to be reaching out to local businesses impacted on Foothill?
We can look into that. I assume we would follow any city protocols with Public Works in terms of requirements, and would suspect that it would be a condition of the permit to make sure that impacted businesses would be notified. But we can follow up with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bonilla.
Thank you, Mayor. There's been a little bit of concern from some community members, about the city's budget recently. So I just wanted to kind of clarify with this project, the commitment of the $2 million that the city has committed to this project. What we're approving tonight is really just shifting $500,000 to pre-development cost when the total commitment is still going to remain the $2 million that we actually are able to fund out of our inclusionary housing fees. So when we think about, these developers sometimes paying the fees, I know that oftentimes I push for the developer to build inclusionary housing, but we see these fees could be leveraged in a project like this. But I just want to clarify, it's just a shifting of funds to $500,000 to pre-development costs, but the city's overall financial commitment to this project remains unchanged, right?
That's correct. And as you note, these are not general funds that are being committed to the project.
Thank you. And lastly, and more so just for the public's knowledge, can you share with us what's going to happen to the current occupants when their homes are remodeled?
So there's a plan to provide relocation assistance to the tenants. So looking at, and the tenants will have a choice whether they will be permanently relocated and receive a stipend to help them with their relocation costs. And then the other option is to be temporarily relocated, where they would then have the opportunity to move back to the project, either in one of the rehab units on the Bridgeport property or in one of the new units that's built.
Excellent. And, moving back into a deed restricted affordable housing development is kind of a win if that's what they choose to do. So very happy to hear that that's the plan to take care of those current occupants. And those are my only questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I don't, Councilmember Sermenio.
Mayor, thank you. Good report. Thank you very much. And colleague Bonilla, I like the fact that it's being transparent about our funds and about our money. So that's excellent. When there are a lot of people out there wanting to know when are we going to have more affordable units. So when do we expect these units to be built?
So we're looking at construction start in 2026, the end of 2026. And I can't remember the construction finish. I think it's about 18 months, 24 months to finish.
So close to 29.
Correct. But I would encourage people to sign up for the stack on the city's website, because we do have other affordable units that will be coming online within the next year. 2 projects that will start marketing probably within the next 6 months. So opportunities out there, sign up for the stack so that they can be aware.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you both.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Bless you over here.
Thank you, Mayor. So with the water lines, by any chance, are they also planning to put in the non-potable water lines? I realize that there's some time gap and some overlap on bringing the non-potable water to that part of the city, but is that part of the plan?
I don't believe that the recycled water is part of the infrastructure plan, but I will also let Norma address that as well from RCD.
So we have not had any discussions about recycled water thus far, and I'm not sure if the council member is referring to recycled water for irrigation purposes or as a green feature, which we may be able to look into if we're able to raise funds for it. And we haven't gotten into detailed design with all of the infrastructure and utilities just yet. But since we are going to apply to our first big state funding program this next month, in about a month, actually on March 19th, if that goes well, then that'll help us launch into more detailed design where we can start to answer some of those questions and hopefully return to council with a project update that could have more details about how all of that is being planned.
Good, very good, because we are on track to expanding the recycled water program through the city, and developments of this size would be a huge beneficiary of being able to use recycled water. That's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to move on to public comment on this item, and I don't see anybody online, and I don't see anyone in the room, and I don't have any public comment cards. So I'd like to close public comment, and I'll entertain a motion. Councilmember Bonilla.
Thank you, Mayor. Just getting used to using the iPad again. I'm very excited to move this. I think RCD has been a great partner. I think this is truly a wonderful project that's going to bring more affordable housing to our community. 82 units is much needed. I'm also excited that the units are going to be bigger, because I think we know from, our arena numbers and those that are impacted by housing costs, that bigger units at affordable pricing levels are very much needed in this community. So I'm quite excited about that. Also, I think shifting this $500,000 to pre-development costs to make this project more competitive in this very tight funding environment is the right thing to do. So just very excited to move this item tonight, Mayor, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Moved by Councilmember Bonilla. Councilmember Roach.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy to second if no one else is jumping in.
Seconded by Councilmember Roach.
Yeah, I'm happy to second. Yeah, I think this is a great project for Hayward. It's really accessible right there on Foothill Boulevard. And I think this is going to add to our housing stock, which I think is going to make everybody happy. And yeah, I like the increase, the reduction of the actual units, but the increase in size of some of the units to allow families to find a space for themselves as well. And I think extending the deadline is understandable, given the opportunity for further funding. I think is the right way to go as well. So I'm happy to second the motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Bonilla, seconded by Councilmember Roach. And if there are no other questions, Madam City Clerk, if you can take the roll. Or can we can actually vote now. Or did you have Councilmember Andrews before I move on? Yeah, we can vote now, and I don't think Councilmember Andrews' iPad, the voting. We haven't gotten there yet. Okay. Okay. Oh, there it is right there.
How about now?
Yeah, Councilmember
Okay.
Councilmember Andrews. She
Okay.
but I just
I just added that. So that's good.
but I can tell you that Councilmember Andrews emphatically and enthusiastically approves this project.
Okay. And it's up there.
Because if she did not approve the project, I would unplug her iPad.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Oh, 7-I.
Okay, so Councilmember Andrews, the motion passes unanimously. How's that? Okay. Moving on to informational item. It is the informational, wait, hold on a second. Oh yeah, informational item. And it's item number 9, informational report on fiscal year 24 Q2 capital improvement program, CIP progress report. And I don't think that there is a staff report on this. This is just if anyone has any questions. Councilmember Andrews, I see you on the board now. So Councilmember Andrews, now you're off the board. What happened? Hit the speaker. There you go. You're on the board. Councilmember Andrews, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
call on you now because since I see you on the board.
Thank you. Wanted to just quickly ask about the difference between the Neighborhood Improvement Grant Program and the Neighborhood Partnership Program project.
I believe Director Mary is on the line,
Okay.
but I could be wrong. I know he's watching because he's sending me text messages.
Director, oh, there he is.
I'm sorry, it took me a second to find the buttons here.
I
So
know-
one is the grant program, and the other one is the actual program for implementation. That's my understanding.
So is it one like the People's Budget Program for the Hazel Garden, or I think the names are kind of confusing for me, so I don't.
We will take a look and
Okay.
clarify the names for
That'd be great.
the coming CIP.
All right, and then also, since you have the mural art for underpasses and it says 50% done, which underpasses do we know if, or is it just they're at 50% drawings, 50%?
That I don't
Councilmember
know.
Andrews, that's not in Public Works, but we can
Okay,
research that and get back to council.
We
okay,
can
great.
get you a list, yeah.
Okay, and then the last is the La Vista Park, the scale down redesign is at 90% complete. So I'm assuming that's the drawings, and we are expecting a presentation or at least an update on that.
Yes, there is
That's
a work
correct.
session next week, and we'll come before you with different options for council to proceed.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Roach.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for bringing us this status update. I guess that was asked by previous councils that we get these periodic updates. And I really appreciate it because I think if the community is listening at all, this is the one document they might want to seek out on our website. It just shows you the true state of our city and the amazing projects that are happening and the huge cost that it takes to keep our streets up to date and yeah, and just the infrastructure solid for the city. So let's see, I had several questions. One on La Vista Park. Thank you, Councilmember Andrews. I think that was answered. On the library, I was wondering, it said 98% complete. Does that mean, since there's still punch list items, that we actually don't have that officially handed over yet? And when will that happen?
As soon as the punch list items are completed, I will accept the project, and that would be the end of the project. But right now, there are a couple of issues that we are dealing with still. One is the completion of the elevator at the garage. We've had, the last remaining small issues that we are working on. That's an example, for instance.
Okay, all right. So it's,
yeah.
and timing, you think is that like the next year that'll happen?
We are hoping that it's going to be in the next few weeks, but every time there is, a reason why those last items cannot get completed. Working with the elevator company and the contractor who's mostly gone from here and others has been difficult.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And then I also was wondering on the airport fleet replacement, is that to upgrade to electric cars, or is that just a replacement due to wear and tear?
Whenever possible, we are going to encourage, council has directed us to at least do 15% of our fleet every year to electric or hybrid. Anytime there is an opportunity like that, we take advantage of it. But there are some vehicles that are not available in electric right now, and we go to whatever it is sustainable, such as hybrid or alternative fuel powered.
And I assume, is that the same with all the different fleets in the city?
Correct. As you know, there is a regulation from the Air Board that directs all of the agencies to have 50% of their medium and heavy duty fleet to be electric or sustainable fuel, and then beginning 2027, 100%. But because even they know that there are some limitations with manufacturing and supply, there are provisions for asking for an exemption. And that's where we are right now. So 50% is electric if possible. Otherwise, there are opportunities for exemptions.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that. And then the other, let's see, I just have a few more. The Hayward Boulevard Safety Project and the Orchard Avenue traffic calming. What's happening with those two? I know there was a community meeting that happened. Meanwhile, where are we on that?
So Hayward Boulevard, we had a preliminary design for making the street safer. We had a neighborhood meeting, and there was a lot of good points raised, opposition to removing a lane and adding bike lane. They didn't think that it was the right time for doing something like that, and asked us to more carefully review Hayward Boulevard, which is why that project was postponed for a while. Orchard Avenue, completely different. We had a neighborhood meeting, and we received some comments last month, and we are going to proceed with quick solutions that we can implement in the next 60 days or so, while we are working on the longer term solution that is going to impact the roundabout that is at the intersection of Joyce and Orchard, and also take a look at that eastern portion of Orchard, which is excessively wide. It's 70 feet from curb to curb. We are going to somehow narrow that down. There is no need for such a wide street there, and it encourages speeding. So that is going to come along with a rework of the roundabout in the medium term.
Okay. Oh, thanks. So that's still ongoing there. Thank you. And then the other one was the Mission Boulevard South End Frontage Project. Is that little strip before you get to Tamarack?
that is the little strip that is completely outside of the city of Hayward. I mean, Mission Boulevard there is outside of this city, but the development that is just to the west of it is in the city. So we are trying to do some sidewalk extensions along that frontage, and that requires us to work with Caltrans, and they have certain requirements that kick in for bike lanes and other things if you're doing sidewalk. So it's a little bit complicated, but we are working with them to install the sidewalk at the frontage of the city developments that is on the west side of Mission Boulevard. Mission Boulevard is completely outside of the city at that city end.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, that'll look nice actually if that one's updated. And then I promise my last question is about the recycled water. Councilmember Goldstein brought it up earlier, but are there, it looks like there'll be a master plan and then a phase 2. Are there any, are you coordinating with planning to come up with maybe incentives for developers to, to want to bring recycled water into their developments to extend our recycled water capacity?
Absolutely. The city council has approved a built-in incentive right now for using recycled water. Recycled water is offered less expensively than drinking water. So while it replaces drinking water and it is completely fine for irrigation at this point to the level that we treat the recycled water, that's something that is a built-in incentive for people that want to use the water for irrigation or any other industrial uses that may have, that a tertiary treated water, not highly purified, is going to be acceptable to them. So there is no more incentive that I think is required above the fact that we give a 25% discount compared to the cost of drinking water. Many agencies say, water is water. There is the concept of one water, the cost is the same. But in Hayward, like some other cities, we have this differentiation in order to encourage the use of recycled water in the first few years.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering all my questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely.
Councilmember Bonilla.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for this update. Just wanted to correct something in the staff report. Attachment 5 and attachment 6 are, I think, switched. So attachment 5 should be the link for 6 and 6 should be the link for 5. And the only reason why I called that out is because Councilmember Roche had said, this is, I think, a great document for the community to really understand all of the great work that's happening in the city, because it is quite impressive to see all of this work happening simultaneously to improve our community. What I would like to see in maybe the next report is 2 additional columns. One is, is the project on track? Is it delayed? Is it, just maybe a status? And then also a column for target completion. I get the percentage, which is great. But, for its 65%, for like an example, the LED lighting retrofit, when do we expect the project to complete? Just so we're not digging everywhere to really be able to understand these capital improvements that are really making Hayward a much better place to live in, a much stronger community. Very proud of the work, and those are my comments this evening. Thanks for the report.
Councilmember Syra.
Absolutely do those things.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry if I missed this question earlier. Did somebody request a map, or was that a topic that came up earlier? Okay, well, I just want to double check when we were talking about the attachments. That would be my request. I really appreciate this report. It's fantastic to see the amount of work that's happening around the city. I think my additional request, I agree with the columns being added, is I think for our residents to see a map of where all these capital improvement projects are taking place. I'm a really visual learner, so just having that bird's eye view to see, wow, the city's really doing quite a bit of work with our tax dollars to keep our quality of life, up there. I think that would go a long way. Does that sound like a reasonable ask? And is OpenGov capable of helping produce that kind of information easily?
We will look into it and see what can be done. and incorporate the map that can show some of these locations.
Got it. And I understand there might be some security concerns involved with some of the projects, so I would defer to staff to highlight the ones that were publicly viewable. Thanks.
Councilmember Andrews.
I just wanted to add on to that, that could be a very heavy lift. So I do agree with the columns. Maybe you could do cross streets in the interim. I do think visually that's helpful. I agree with security, but to have that on OpenGov might be a little bit more time intensive for staff because they might require GIS and you will have to engage with multiple departments to have that implemented. So I would request for staff to revisit reviewing a timeline before promising that for the next report, because it may not get there. It may take actually a very long time, given the number of projects we have.
Okay, since the Councilmember Goldstein.
Yeah, thank you for that. I couldn't reach the button with the screen up. So, Alex, a couple of questions for you on page 2, item 07491. Disaster service workers response coordination and communication plum cases. What is that?
That is not a public works project. I'll have to look into it and get back to you.
Oh, okay. All right. And so this other one I'm going to ask you about is probably not either, but let me ask. Oh, actually, this one does look like it's in your bucket. Innovative deployments to enhance arterials, Tennyson Corridor and 2nd Street.
Yeah, so that is, as we refer to, the IDEA project. The acronym is IDEA, which basically makes the signals, traffic signals down an arterial adaptive, so that ideally if you go at the speed limit, you should be able to hit green lights one after the other. This is the theory. So this is a project that we are pursuing for some of our arterial streets.
Okay, and this one's marked 100%, so you're guaranteeing I'm going to hit green lights. I'm teasing.
If you go at the speed limit, if you want to beat it, then it doesn't work so well.
All right, thanks, Alex. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, so seeing no more questions, Councilmember Zermania.
Thank you. Just one quick one. Thank my colleagues for all these, for the requests. I think they're very good. I have one more for you, Alex.
Yes.
Maybe in the future, we could have a separate sheet with all the completed projects, so then we could see what is coming up and what has been completed. So maybe a second attachment of the 100%, 100%ers. And it will make this list less daunting, because you look at this list and you go, oh my God, $900 million. So maybe if you break it up, it'll be easier to digest. So
Sure.
think about that.
Absolutely. Like projects that have been completed in the last 6 months and projects that are under construction or in design right now. Yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to close the informational item and move on to council reports and announcements. Are there any council reports and announcements? Councilmember Andrews.
Yes, I wanted to thank my colleagues who joined me on for the Black History Month program here at City Hall, put on by Senator Aisha Wahab. So I want to say thank you to Councilmember Syrup, Mayor Salinas, Councilmember Roche for coming out and supporting. We acknowledge fantastic women in our community who are doing great things for the Black community. And then also wanted to announce, can someone guess what I'm going to announce just now?
Does it start with a K and end with a G?
That is correct. We are having Keep Hayward Clean and Green at Longwood Elementary this Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Hopefully everyone can come out and support. Longwood neighborhood has been asking for a cleanup for a while. We are sorry. We normally do come out every year, but we were a little delayed in getting to you, but we are coming Saturday, 8 a.m., 12 p.m. And we look forward to helping out the community.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I got a text from the principal, and he and I were talking this particular morning, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, the Keep Hayward Clean and Green folks are here at the school right now, passing out all kinds of swag, bottles, bracelets. They're passing out all kinds of stuff. The swag game for Keep Hayward Clean and Green is unmatched. So, Councilmember Andrews or Councilmember Roach, do you have a swag report?
Not a swag report.
Okay.
But I wanted to reiterate something our public speaker, Lisa Loren, said earlier. I hope the community realizes how lucky we are to have the Bay Philharmonic in Hayward in residence at Chabot College. And I'm thrilled that they're going to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day with a Celtic music and dance performance. It's great timing because you can go out Saturday night, have your fun with St. Patrick's Day, wake up really late on Sunday and attend this performance at 3:00 on Sunday, celebrating St. Patrick's Day. It should be fun for all. And I encourage everyone to go online to the bayphil.org for tickets. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so moving on to council referrals, we don't have any. And so I would like to now adjourn the meeting. Our next meeting is February 27th, 2024. This meeting is adjourned.